Hi, my name is Megan and these are my application questions to the Faye W. Whitney School of Nursing at the University of Wyoming. Firstly, a meaningful experience that I had was during my course, AP World History, which was my first AP class. I was unprepared for the amount of reading and notes that the class required due to my previous class experiences being general ed. It put me in a difficult situation since I was struggling to achieve passing scores on the initial practice tests. I spoke with my teacher and with my parents about it, and they gave me some strategies and suggestions to help me with note-taking and studying. I attempted multiple strategies, and after finding one that worked, I dedicated 5 to 6 hours a week to note-taking and to reading the textbook. I started doing better on my tests and working with more enthusiasm in class, which led me to eventually enjoy the experience. I achieved a 4 on the AP exam, motivating me to take more AP classes, leading me to get the AP Scholar Award by achieving a 3 or higher on 3 or more AP tests, and to graduating with honors since I finished 3 AP classes before my senior year. I believe that the nursing profession is for me because I believe that nursing is a profession of service. I come from a family with a long history of service, with my father serving in the Army for over 30 years and my mother working as a public school teacher for over 20 years. Both of my grandfathers served in the military during times of war, and my grandmother worked as a public health educator for the state of California. I feel a deep need to serve the public due to the legacy that my family has set, all the way back from our immigration to America. The core values of nursing align with the values I was taught and the values I believe are important. For example, compassion is important in nursing since the profession requires empathy and kindness towards patients, which is also an important value to me because of my experience working and caring with kids. I volunteered at a theater downtown, and I worked with kids while working with the city of Casa Grande. And I found it was more effective to show them kindness and compassion to be able to connect with the kids and work with them properly. Rather than being cold and distant, I had to be compassionate towards them, which really showed me the importance because I was able to properly handle situations and work with them when I took that approach. Communication is another value important in nursing since you're working as a team for the benefit of the patients and cannot withhold any details that would help the patient's care. This is also one of my core values because of my work in kitchens before. I've worked at multiple different restaurants, and I found that when working in a kitchen, communication is extremely important to make sure orders aren't messed up, that allergies are known, that no order is made multiple times, and that everything comes out in close proximity. Without communication, mistakes is likely to be made, which can't be afforded when working in the kitchen, and it makes work a lot less efficient and costly when mistakes are being made. Autonomy is also important in nursing since patients need to be able to make their own decisions and have them respected, which is also valued to me because I've seen when working with kids, when you don't give them autonomy, it can be a struggle working with them because they have different difficulty levels to actions that you give them. And when not giving them autonomy, you can't tell what they can reasonably accomplish. I've had that experience where I've made things too difficult, and once I allowed the kids autonomy, they were able to communicate that need and show that they needed something a little simpler, which was really important because they were able to end up putting on a nice production after they were able to have autonomy to do something a little simpler. Professionalism is another very important value in nursing since nurses need to be able to take accountability for their actions and behave ethically. This is important to me when working with food because I have to be able to take accountability for any mistakes I make, and instead of just serving something, I need to be able to take accountability, remake everything even if it's not beneficial to me so that I can behave ethically. The field of nursing consists of a lot of different people with different backgrounds and experiences. A time when I had to deal with something like this is working with the city of Casa Grande. The end goal of our program was to have the kids put on a musical together, which meant we had to teach them choreography, dancing, music, and public speaking skills. We were working with a team of 5 people with all different levels and experiences with that sort of thing, which we also had to run all the tech stuff like curtains, lighting, sound. which we also had different levels of experience with. Our different levels of experience allowed us to assign tasks based on who was the most qualified, which led to one task being split into a bunch of smaller, connected tasks between the 5 of us. We were able to tackle everything together quicker and more efficiently since everyone had a smaller workload, and when we had time, we were able to learn other aspects of their jobs by helping each other out. While using our strengths and experiences to assign tasks, we were able to be more efficient and get things done in a correct way so that we were able to meet our deadline of 6 weeks. We ended up being able to put on a show that was satisfying to the kids, that they were proud of, and that was also satisfying to our supervisors. A time I disagreed with a former boss was at my previous job working as a cook at a location of Sonic. This disagreement started with the general manager when I started being a part of the closing team and found out our closing policy of being required to clock at a certain time, but staying and finishing our portion of closing. We were required to clock out at 12 or 12:30, but continue closing, so we would be there for up to an hour and a half after we had already clocked out, and leaving whenever we were required to clock out would have us put at risk of losing our job. I spoke to the managers about this since this was in violation of labor laws, and I didn't think it was okay to ignore that. They brought up their concerns to the general manager, and so did I, but no conclusion was reached. And since I believed it was unlawful and unethical to be making people do this, I put in my 2 weeks notice and found another job since I was disagreeing with the policy and the general manager wasn't willing to make a change. A situation I was faced with that challenged my confidence and sense of assurance is when I was volunteering at a small theater downtown. It was just me, my boss, a few kids, and a few parent volunteers working on set pieces when we found out that there was a dead body at the perimeter of our property, which required the authorities to come and my boss to go outside and speak with the authorities. So I had to be in charge of the kids individually. The kids were confused on what was happening, and I had to try to figure out a way to keep them inside and keep them calm and have them not see the situation that was happening outside. I was unsure what to do with being left alone and in charge. Before this, I didn't have any experience working with kids, so I was really unsure of myself, and I wasn't confident about being able to watch over the kids and keep control of the situation by myself since I didn't have a lot of experience. I was unsure what to tell them about why they couldn't go outside or why there was so much noise and people outside or why there was sirens. But I got through the situation by staying calm myself and giving the kids activities to keep them occupied. I also stepped aside, let the parents know the situation so they could be aware of what was happening. I closed off all the doors to make sure no one could see what was happening outside, and I tried my best to keep control of the situation and not get it overwhelming.